I'll now yield to my good friend, our distinguished ranking member, Mr. McGovern, for any remarks he wishes to make.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's good to see you, and I want to welcome our witnesses who are here today. You know, for about an hour this weekend, this body behaved the way it's supposed to. And for about an hour this weekend, this place wasn't totally nuts. Democrats and Republicans worked together to keep the government open, and I'm proud of that. It's something I think the American people want to see more of. I also feel proud of the fact that Democrats were adults in the room, and we delivered the votes needed to prevent a shutdown. Almost every Democrat joined with 126 Republicans who decided to reject extremism and say enough is enough. And I want to thank all my Republican colleagues, and in particular, my friends on the other side of the dais who joined us in keeping the lights on, Chairman Cole, Mr. Burgess, Mr. Reschenthaler, Ms. Fishback, Ms. Ouchin, and Mr. Langworthy. This is the way things should work around here. We should be working together to get stuff done. And I'm glad that the Republicans finally came to their senses and brought a relatively clean CR to the House floor. But let me also point out that 90 House Republicans voted to shut the government down. That is not just a small handful of members. This is a huge percentage of the Republican conference that seems to think a shutdown would be preferable than simply moving forward in a bipartisan way to keep the lights on. The message to Speaker McCarthy here is that there is a better way forward. It's time for him to start putting partisan politics aside, to put people over politics, and to get things done. Because the games have to stop. The chaos that we've seen these last few weeks needs to end. And unless House Republicans come to their senses, we will be right back where we were last week in just 45 days. Well, actually, less than 45 days now, which brings us to today's business. Unfortunately, it seems that we're back to business as usual, and Republicans have not learned a lesson coming out of Saturday. The Energy and Water Development and Related Agencies Appropriation Act increases energy costs, jeopardizes energy security, and fails to confront the climate crisis, and includes, like all the other appropriation bills, multiple MAGA culture war provisions. We also have the Legislative Branch Appropriations Act. Americans already think Congress is broken, and this majority wants to break it even more by handicapping Congress's ability to maintain and increase constituent services. And shamefully, they want to eliminate the Office of Diversity and Inclusion on Capitol Hill. So to put it plainly, you know, these bills are more of the same. And clearly, they're not going to pass the Senate in any way near the form that they are in leaving the House. So my question here is, what will be different in a month when we are trying to fund the government again? I guess I should give my friends credit. I was complaining about bringing extreme appropriations measures to this Rules Committee and to the House floor a day before the government was going to shut down. I thought we should have been working on preventing a shutdown. But at least you're bringing these bills to us not a day before, but 43 days before. So we have 43 days to get this out of our system here. The time to confer with the Senate on these bills was ages ago, especially since they're going to require a lot of work because we are so far off from where we need to be. And the bottom line is that it's the House's job to originate spending bills, hopefully with a mindset of trying to pass these bills, something that cannot happen with either of these extreme bills. And I'm afraid that instead of spending the next few weeks in serious deliberations with the Senate, House Republicans will resort back to their civil war, fighting amongst themselves about impeachment, their speaker, and shutting down the government. I just beg and I plead with my colleagues across the aisle to start taking this process seriously. Let's work together in a bipartisan way, and let's set aside the dysfunction and move forward for the American people. And, you know, I understand that we're going to continue going through these appropriation bills that are basically dead on arrival. You know, maybe, you know, this is a therapy session for the extreme right wing here in the House. If we have to do that, you know, so be it. But again, 45 days is not that far away, and we need to be figuring it out, you know, how we, again, avoid a shutdown at that time. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back, and again, welcome our witnesses, and thank you very much.
Appreciate